Hey fashion friends, I hope you're doing very well and your day is nice so far. I thought today we can have more of like informal chat video rather than my usual super trying to be professional, productive, explaining fashion videos. Let's just have like an informal chat and unpack the elephant in the room, which are or is the resort/cruise season, because from the end of May until somewhat middle of June you can see all over social media all about newspapers. There's cruise resort shows. Maybe you are wondering, why is Dior showing the new collection again? Didn't they just present the collection in February? And wait a minute, aren't they supposed to show in the fashion week during September? What is this cruise season about? Who is it targeting? Is anyone actually buying these clothes? Is anyone actually buying all of these clothes every few months, changing their wardrobe, changing their styles? And what is the future of these shows? Are they even needed? How much do they cost? Isn't the brand losing money making these shows? Let's try to answer all of these questions because I've been so confused about these for a long time, and I thought let's just make like an informal video and try to unpack these in like a very beginner friendly way so you can understand and make your own opinion also. Are they really needed or is it just like a publicity stunt basically? So both names, cruise and resort, are used frequently, and it's an inter-season or a pre-season line of a ready-to-wear clothing produced by a brand in addition to the recurring twice yearly seasonal collections, so the spring and summer and then the autumn-winter, shown during the fashion weeks in New York, London, Paris and Milan. Cruise collections were born out of a clear need, actually. In the early 20th century, with the embellishment of the concept of leisure among high society, the wealthiest clients in Europe and America would escape winter by traveling to the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. Meanwhile, the boutiques were actually filled with wool and with very warm clothing that were not suitable for this kind of warm weather destinations. So as you can deduct already, the cruise collections were targeting a wealthy audience who could actually afford to go to the warm destinations, to warm countries during winter, during fall. Not everyone could afford this, so fashion houses were obviously targeting the high-end clientele who had the money, had the budget to spend extra on their holiday wardrobe. So who came up with this brilliant idea to target the rich, to make special collections for them and profit in between the seasons? It was actually Mademoiselle Gabrielle Chanel who came up with the first resort collection back in 1919, inventing the concept of the cruise show. She designed a collection of light dresses and knits specifically for women who would spend their holidays in Biarritz. It was elegant, functional, and as usual ahead of its time, a solution for a season that officially didn't exist, but in practice it did. By mid-century, designer cruise collections had become synonymous with leisure and sophistication. With the rise of cruises and beach resorts, the aesthetic of these collections began to shape. And then by the 1990s, with international travel, more accessible to wider audience, resort collections took on a new commercial value that became key for fashion houses. Brands like Chanel, Gucci, Dior, and Louis Vuitton transformed these functional capsules into true creative showcases. From beginning, it was just a vacation clothing for an exclusive minority. Cruise collections became then aspirational and above all, highly profitable. While they maintain their holiday spirit, they also serve as a bridge between seasons, as a lab for ideas, and as a strategic tool to remain relevant throughout the year. However, today, the cruise or the resort shows are targeted to consumers who have finished buying their full winter wardrobes and are looking ahead for something new. Resort collections now range from warm weather looks, such as pretty sundresses and swimsuits, all the way to winter looks like fur coats and cozy sweaters. Perfect for that Aspen getaway, for example. Cruise collections are a great opportunity for giants like Dior and Gucci to charm their global customers who consistently travel or live in the sunny climates all year round. Let's not forget that these huge fashion empires have clients everywhere around the world, so they need to target all of them. Resort show is also a great opportunity to satisfy the generation of consumers who travel all the time. It also answers the climate change dilemma, where these days, in many parts of the world, there is little to no winter. Additionally, thanks to online shopping, brands at every price point have global customers. And some of the biggest spenders are in the Asian, Arab, and Russian markets. And for major brands, it means that the resort delivery is a commercial necessity. Actually, a cruise show has become a destination itself. A spectacle where the fashion, architecture, and local narrative blend into an immersive experience. Brands weave complex creative links between their houses and the local identities they visit, both out of historical rigor and a desire to expand creativity and diversify. In many cases, local craftsmanship is highlighted, hiring local ateliers to create the collections and showcase the value of global artisanry. 10 plus years ago, resort and pre-fall collections were only shown to buyers and were basically a brand's best-selling items used as store fillers between seasons. Once brands decided to open the season to the press, the floodgates were opened. Today, resort shows start in early May and continue through the second week of June. Some designers and retailers think that the resort season has become almost as important as the spring and winter season collections. After the show, the resort collections are available for purchase in November to the customers, and it's a perfect timing for a holiday shopping. Unlike the spring and summer and the fall and winter collections, resort remains on the sale floor the longest, as the spring merchandise arrives in February before hitting the sale rack, which makes it the most profitable season for most brands. Not all, but a lot of brands make a lot of profit actually from the resort shows and collections. Actually, when it comes to cruise shows and resort shows, there is not so many requirements as for the fashion weeks that need to be in the fashion capitals, or for example, haute couture shows, also they need to be shown in Paris. And when it comes to cruise shows, there's a lot of freedom actually, and each luxury brand has its own preference when it comes to choosing the location for their cruise show. As the cruise collection focus on holiday mode or resort wear, it's no wonder that many fashion houses also adapted their locations to suit this theme. Luxury brands often choose international spectacles to show their resort ranges. For example, the 2007 Fendi Extravaganza on top of the Great Wall of China, which was a crazy show, probably one of the most unforgettable shows of all time. Actually, why won't I show you now a few of the most crazy locations that were used for the cruise show and like few snippets from the collection. I think that might be quite interesting, so let's see that. First up, we have Christian Dior Resort 2016, which was shown at Pierre Cardin's fantastical home called the Bubble Palace. The property, which is located in the south of France, presented the show in a whimsical, dreamlike state that Ralph Simons, the creative director at the time, always brought to his shows for Dior. Next extravagant location was Gucci Resort 2019, where the guests were sitting on the edge of a burning runway. The show setting was the Promenade de Aliscombe, the ancient Roman cemetery in Arles, France, lit up by the candelabras. Another crazy location was chosen for the Louis Vuitton 2018 cruise show. Nicolas Ghesquière transported the audience to the I Am Pei Miho Museum in the forested outskirts of Kyoto, Japan. Fun fact, accessing the Miho requires walking through a tunnel portal drilled into a mountain, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for sure. The next example can easily be the Chanel Cruise 2011 show, which took place in the sunny Saint-Tropez. Models disembarked from boats before walking a runway at sunset in front of Senequier, the iconic cafe with endless rows of red directors' chairs for guests to sit on. And one more show, since there are so many to choose from in the Chanel department, will be the Cruise 2010 collection, which was shown in Venice. Around 350 guests reclined in sunbeds watching as the collection moved around the Venice Lido at sunset. Let me know which location was the craziest and which one would you like to be invited to and see in the real life, because I think these would be like once in a lifetime memories to be invited to one of these shows. Like, I would never forget being invited to one of these. You might be thinking, how much money did they spend on these shows, and is it even profitable? So for luxury brands where budget is not a primary concern, the world is their oyster, and when it comes to showing resort, there are no limits. They can opt to show in new locations, bringing their unique brand value and aesthetics to customers who do not necessarily travel to traditional fashion week cities. They can partner with local press and local celebrities, so it's also like opening sort of a new market when they go and they show in some weird locations. They make it almost like a big event for the people that live in that location, because the whole city talks about the show that's gonna take place in a city where there was never a fashion show before. So that's like a big event for the people who live in those places. Actually, when it comes to money, these are one of the most profitable collections of the year. For example, if a brand shows during the haute couture week, the haute couture shows don't usually bring a lot of profit because these garments are very elaborated, they have a lot of details and they need to be handmade. So not many people will be buying those because the garments from haute couture collections usually target the collectors or like proper fashion lovers that will spend thousands and thousands on one piece. Whereas the cruise shows are more easygoing. You can go and buy a fancy swimsuit, which is still sort of affordable. You will not spend like 5,000 euro, let's say, on a swimsuit. You will spend a couple of hundred. These collections are usually a bit more affordable. They have wearable garments, so you don't have to worry about, oh my god, when will I ever be able to wear this? Like, where will I go in this crazy outfit? No, cruise collections usually have very, very friendly and very wearable garments. So whatever you buy, you can wear on your holidays. That's the whole point. So these are actually customer friendly and the brand makes big profit from these collections. You can see all over Instagram a lot of famous people and influencers showing you their Gucci bag to go to the beach, or like a Prada ensemble Prada outfit to go to like Explorer City or something like that. So these garments that you are seeing are all from the cruise shows. I think the brands are also trying to target a little bit like, let's say, medium income customers. So for example, you want to treat yourself to a nice hat from Gucci that is 300 euros. So let's say this is in your price range. whereas usually a Gucci hat would be $3,000, let's say. So the cruise collections are trying to target a bit less rich people also, so you can afford to have something nice and to build like a nice relationship with the brand. So whenever you do have more money, you can go back to Gucci, let's say, and purchase something more. I think nowadays the cruise collections became something a little bit different that Mademoiselle Coco Chanel thought when she just first came up with this kind of idea. Nowadays, it's not only the rich people that are being targeted with these collections. Now the brands make these collections very accessible, they make it more affordable, they are very easy to wear pieces, so everyone who has money could afford these. I think Coco Chanel was kind of a genius coming up with these. Or let me make like a special summer little collection just for rich people to buy, to go on their yachts. That's just like genius. Genius. Because it really worked, and Chanel became associated with this luxurious brand that everyone would want to wear, even like not on their holidays, on special occasions and stuff. Anyway, I hope you like some of these examples that I showed you. Maybe some of them you didn't even know that they existed, so it's good to know. Let me know if you would ever spend money on a cruise piece just to show off on your holidays, because I think I wouldn't. No, I don't think so. But even if I wouldn't spend money on it personally, I think it's a quite good idea, fashion-wise, not environment-wise, obviously, to create another show, because there's something more for fashion lovers to look at, to talk about, to think about, to dream about, if you will. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this explained a little bit the idea behind these kinds of shows. And if you want to, please join my channel, because I'm doing a lot of different fashion videos. I'm trying to find my style, I guess. We have a Alexander McQueen series ongoing right now, so you can check that. And yeah. Now, I hope you can go and have a look at some of the resort shows from this season. They are quite spectacular. I will link a few of my favorites below so you can check what the designers are coming up with for the upcoming resort season. Thank you so much for watching, my fashion friends. If you're still here, you really are a fashion friend. Bye!